Hello guys, well welcome to the second video I make, and this is a new thing I'm showing. Actually, I'm not even asking you, I'm just giving you a video because I notice you may not like them, but I've already learned how to do them, so you're just gonna have to endure or skip it, whatever you want. So this is a new thing. I've called it Gladius because I always name my planes after pointy objects, and yeah, this is wide and short, so Gladius, a short sword. Works. Anyway, there it is. It's sort of a tiny shuttle. You can take some stuff up, do crew transfers, and it's cute. It's little, basically. That's what you can see. Oh, this thing is important. If you have landing gear on the payload, don't hit the landing gear button. Okay, in this case it would make the whole plane go boom if you press G at that moment. I know because I did. And what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm showing you the flight engineer, another one of those mods I sometimes use, etc., which I've already explained. And yeah, I'm going to make them talk right now because someone should comment or should tell those cables from mission control that yeah, we have things under control. So we took off and we're gonna use the displays of flight engineer to get more accurate information actually. And yeah, you can see there that you can actually select stuff from here. So it would do the work of haystack, but you would have to have flight engineer on all vessels to do that. But yeah, we want to look at vertical speed and latitude and inclination to, kind of get a good equatorial orbit. You will see me messing around with very tiny changes in inclination because actually KSC is not on the equator. It's slightly, very slightly to the south. So, I'm trying to show off and correct for that, and it doesn't really bother because you will see later that with all the maneuvering around and such, it's gonna be more or less what you want it to be, and that's good enough. And I'm showing that there are lights on the payload bay because we want to see what we're doing when it's night up there in the black. But yeah, also RTG powered, so you don't have to mess with solar panels and battery and such. Very few parts actually. It's around 100, something like that. Yeah, and excess thrust. It's actually pretty easy to fly, forgiven, because it's small, it's stable. Yeah, it isn't too hard. It's got two turbojets, so you have to mind the flame maps. It will flame out. It will flip to Kingdom Come, and you have to turn off the turbojets and recover from that. You can recover, and there is an emergency too, just in case you're losing it completely or you want to brake real fast. That works too. And let's see, what else can I tell you what's happening now. You see, this is the boring part because you are just rising at 45 degrees, climbing, and yeah, the vertical speed is slowly rising and the air gets thinner. You really have thrust in there, so just start going faster, and as you're pointing up, you start going up faster too. And around 10,000 or something like that, it's gonna be over 50%. So the whole profile is, the launch of this thing is pretty fast, actually, pretty fast. Now the payload, I should probably comment that. The payload you see here, it's a lander. It's a low gravity lander. It should be enough for moon. It's got like a kilometer per second and something of delta V, but only if you start on a low lunar orbit. So yeah, this thing you couldn't just by itself get to moon because the SSTO, the whole plane, the Gladius, cannot really take it to low moon orbit just to curve in orbit. But you will have noticed that there's a ship selected, and it's called Chibi Shuttle Test Load. Yeah, this thing is the development name was shitty shuttle because it's a tiny shuttle. I actually kind of took the last SSTO shuttle I did and made everything smaller. It's like half that, and it's very compact. And yeah, the payload it's completely volume limited. Okay, if it fits, it'll take it up, and it can take up more stuff than it fits in there. Yeah, because you could probably like drastically redesign it to give it a bigger payload, but the thing is, it's over the center, the line of thrust, the payload bay, and so the position of the center of mass will change with payload. If it's empty, it will be lower, and if it's with a heavy mass, the center of mass will move upwards. So the thrust creates torque, and you're gonna see that because this thing is. I should have moved the engine. It's not really on the center. It's hanging on a strut like the two others, and it's maybe you wanna adjust that. It's easy, just take the engine out, drop the thrust, move it slightly upwards, bring it in the center. If you feel like it, if you try some heavier payloads, it's balanced to go with the payload I'm giving you, basically. But you will notice here that it's not like 100% balanced. That's the reason actually that I'm using the gimbaling engine, the LVT-45, because I went with an aerospike, but you really need the gimbaling to counteract that effect, because as you empty the tanks, again the center of mass goes up. So you have to counteract that, and in fact you cannot make the whole orbital burn at 100% throttle because it'll tend to pitch up. It's not bad that it tends to pitch up, but at some point it becomes, as I tell you, uncontrollable, and you have to drop thrust to go there. Okay, we're getting to the interesting part. Notice how the vertical speed is just climbing like crazy. We're already 80 something, 90 meters per second, and I'm gonna let it go to 100, and yeah, I'm already starting to pitch down to 40 because, well, otherwise I'm gonna flame out too soon. I wanna really speed up. You can see that our speed is racing rapidly. Don't worry about fuel. There's enough. Well, it's actually kind of well measured. You won't be much success taking fuel when we're on orbit. But yeah, we're over 20 kilometers, so we're starting to go fast. 100 meters per second already, and it's very difficult to actually get your vertical speed down with this thing because it's got excess thrust on all faces of flight. It's really small and with good legs. That's how it's said on this thing. It's so powerful. Yeah, it's powerful for its size. It packs a punch. And you actually, if you see the controls, you will see that I'm actually fighting to keep it low again because the trusses that I use to hang the engines on, they could be just like, it's very small, the adjustment that you will have to make. Very tiny adjustment to put I already did some, well, actually a lot. You can imagine that when you find the thing is, the problem get masked when you're low on the air because the plane is stable aerodynamically, and that stability tends to offset the effect of the engines. Yeah, if you work the controls, you can keep it pointing down to control our vertical speed. You can see we're all pretty much leveled. In fact, we're gonna start to go a bit low. Yeah, low. We're actually descending now, going fast, accelerating. More than 1 kilometer per second, actually 1.4. We're getting close to that. Yeah, it's almost takeover conditions. You could make it from here, But first, we want to build vertical speed again, because now the air is not really helping us that much. I mean, right now we're on turbojets, and as long as you're on turbojets, you want to be on air. But the second you switch them off, the air becomes your enemy. you want to be over 35 kilometers. So I'm building vertical speed because winning it a little bit as I'm speeding up, and I'm showing you apparently the camera. So yeah, that's a mod cockpit that I have. It's a stock cockpit, but it's a mod that gives it new internals. You don't need it. This thing. Of course, the download is completely clean. It has no flight engineer or whatever. I just thought that if I gave more orbital parameters, someone wants to look at them and see how I did. Okay, that's pitch up maneuver. Basically when I started hearing the jet engines pull down because of flame out, the flame out was close. I dropped the thrust to 2/3 and like the rocket engine. And as you can see, I built vertical speed very fast. That's 130, and there's the flame out. And actually, that's a flame out. That's funny. It's so well measured, right? It was a flame out for lack of fuel. The aviation fuel is completely separated from the rocket fuel, and yeah, it takes you exactly to there, and puff, both engines flame out at the same time because I ran out of liquid engine. At the time I didn't notice, but later when I went to orbit, it's not. You could have some access to because I did another. There's another. Well, you are gonna see it now. I told you the other Chile shuttle. Well, the other Gladius, because it's already named, and we should use its name. It's there for a reason. You can see that lots of flights there, lots of stations. Actually, some of the stations are like interplanetary ships that are waiting, being built and getting ready for their travels. But yeah, we are almost on orbit, and as you can see, I'm having the trouble of I'm pitching up, and I don't really want to pitch up. That's the thrust issue that I told you before. You have to really lower throttle, but we're already at orbital speeds and orbital heights. Actually, our apoapse it's at 57, and our altitude is 45. Yeah, so not much drag here. You can really do it. And now I don't have the target selected. Yeah, now what comes here, I'm sorry, it's a bit kind of a long video. I could just get it here but I really wanted to show off and perhaps teach you something. Ooh, God save me from doing that, but everybody's always asking about rendezvous and docking. Everybody, I've answered in the forums like, whoa, I don't know how many times, and I thought it would be nice to, show you how I do it. Okay, first off, I time things. Okay, this lens is timed. I have a method with SSTOs. I know from experience, not one calculation was done to to find this out, that you want to take off pretty much when the other ship, the target ship, goes over the crater lake. You know what I'm talking about, the big impact crater to the west of KSC. And yeah, that gives you that when you get to orbit, you're that close to your target. It's 50 kilometers. Actually, it's not usually that good. I usually end up like 300 kilometers off, and that's okay. You can fix it up. My standard rendezvous is one orbit, just like this one. But in this one I mess up, okay? Because I time things so I arrive before my target ship, okay? So I'm leading it on the orbit. That way I'm always shooting for 75 kilometer orbits. That way I can make the second orbit larger and fall back towards the target ship, right? And in one orbit, make it so in the second orbit, those 100 kilometers turn to 0. Basically, that's what we want. Now here, I got it too close at first. Too close, yeah. Because I thought, well, I must be able to like make it perfect. on the very next orbit. And first I start like always, like yeah. But then you see I'm too close, so it's you're gonna see me fight with the maneuver node, right? When you play with the blue markers in assuming equatorial orbits all the time, of course. When you play with the blue markers, you basically play with how long it'll take you. And yeah, I probably have a few. I'm looking at the pink marker, the lower one, in game, and I've just seen that I have a good rendezvous on the other part of the orbit. But yeah, there I found out that this is sometimes this happens. It jumps between two predictions, right? Somewhere in the middle, it's the perfect rendezvous, but yeah, 30 and then jumps to another different 30. I don't know how it's calculating those things, but yeah, at some point I see, well, fuck it. Oops, sorry, excuse me. You shouldn't say those things, but ah, anyway, at some point I said, well, yeah, I can show off the other method I have, and yeah, I'm only like 27 meters per second from my target. So I'm gonna show you how to do things manually, manually with the knuckle without using the nodes. And I screw up, of course, but I fix things later on, so we'll see how that's done and what am I meaning by manual mode. See, the thing is, you can hurt the retrograde vector, that green thingy that I'm pointing to right now. You can hurt that around. I mean, if you thrust away from it, it'll basically move away from you, from where you're pointing, right? And you want that red to go to some target. You want that retrograde vector to point to the target. Retrograde vector, retrograde point well thingy. You will notice that I make them. So when I'm close, I just hurt it, and you will notice that it's moving down as the relative velocity goes down. It's also changing the vector. And yeah, see, I just passed a really good rendezvous right there. But I didn't notice because I was looking the novel. Yeah, sometimes it's good because now I was looking and it was already gone. Because yeah, that's orbit. You cannot you really do not want to be heading straight to your target, because if you go straight to your target, you will both change relative positions as you orbit, and you will no longer be going straight to your target, but directly away from it. So yeah, I had a good rendezvous and I let it go again, using this method, but I was going too straight for it. And as you can see, the two markers are coincident, so I am moving closer. I could keep on doing this, the brute way around, and keep it. But you can see that because of the orbital movement, the retrograde vector is slowly moving down on the nav ball. Yeah. Now I see. I don't really know how to predict that. I just observe the nav ball and see which way it's trying to go, and then I just overcorrect, right? Which is what I'm going to do now. And you're gonna see that the orange thingy, the next time we get on map view, it's gonna get closer. Now I'm worrying because I'm starting to notice that I'm failing pretty bad, and I need to check the fuel. And yeah, the payload of course is with its full fuel. What kind of a shuttle will need fuel from the payload? But yeah, we have some fuel that can do things. For a rendezvous at low orbit, yes, more than enough. So now I say, okay, no, not fancy things. We're gonna do it the way we're supposed to, right? And I get to my nearest ascending node, and I set up a bar that not only does it kill my relative inclination, okay, but then I play with the prograde, retrograde thingies, and I get, yeah, exactly there. A good encounter is coming. I'm going for the pink one because it gives me more time, and yeah, that's 5 kilometers. Yeah, there's a good one there. We can keep on adjusting things, And yeah, 1.4. I'll always take 1.4 kilometers. That's more than you need, really, to switch to navball navigation. To point the green vector directly to your target, whichever way you can. There are some people that brake completely and then thrust towards the target. Yeah, that's also okay. It's not more wasteful, actually. Not much, unless you do it a lot of times and go real fast. As long as you, but this one, you will see later. You will see as we get close how those 1.4 are never going to happen. I'm gonna start changing things way before I get to 1.4. In the method I wanted to show you before, but first things first. To do this part, follow other people's guides, because this was not done the correct way. This was done sloppy and with a lot of failing. This probably was done the Kerbal way, because we completely used way more fuel than necessary, and we rushed things and failed at rushing things, and we had to correct. But yeah, that's there, less than 2 kilometers. You can work with that. You can work with 5. You can work with that. And now I use the awesome alarm clock to take care of time warp for me. When I time warp, I don't get myself out of time warp. I was already always going past my maneuver node. And yeah, I noticed that it's not named correctly. We already have the new name, so this is what we are going to be talking with. And yeah, it's very similar, but with a different payload. It's a different payload. And yeah, we make sure that it's ready to receive us. And yeah, void. That's void. That's the other way you could get navigational information. I just like that because having a readout of Apple apps without going into map view it's really useful when you're launching an SSTO. You could do things from map view, but I just like to have the whole thing on the same screen, so I can operate action groups and stuff and still get a reading on. I showed you the field situation. Obviously the payload is full. Of course, this is like the tanker version. Pretty easy to rebuild yourself. And that's a drop tank. You could leave it somewhere else. And yeah, it's not a Chewy shuttle anymore. It's been christened. So this is the Gladius target vehicle. And yeah, I use English on my game. I'm completely colonized by you Yanks. I shouldn't, but I do. This is an English game, and I'm doing this in English. That would be curious. Would anyone want a KSP video in Spanish? I'm just throwing that question out there. If anyone got so far here and wants a video in Spanish, that would be easier for me to do. But if anyone wants or whatever, yeah, the alarm is already set, so I just can time warp. I don't even have noticed the node isn't set up, but it keeps the alarm even if I jump ships. And now I can enjoy that at orbital travel at 50 times warp speed to that 100 kilometer orbit where our buddy is. And yeah, you can see there are letters on there, and there's an alarm jumping and taking us out of time warp and pausing the game, and that's familiar. We were there very recently. And yeah, that's the Gladius, and you can see that I'm not thrusting retrograde, not exactly retrograde. I'm herding my retrograde vector and checking what's happening when I herd it. It's 0.7 already. The retrograde vector, yeah, it's close, but it's not really pointing straight to my target yet. Straight to my target means 0.0. We'll get there. I have a few more, corrections, and 0.0 at 30 meters per second. You want to check those two things out. Well, three things: your distance to your target, and to your close approach, basically. That's 44 seconds. You want to measure it in seconds, basically, because that tells you. And the enough ball to know that you're going straight to your target. And the speed with respect of distance. That's practice. How fast can you go? You basically want to go as fast as you can, with giving you time to break and think what you need to do. So, the faster you go, the less you drift due to orbital thingies, and the more accurate that is to go straight for your target. But you need to break fast, and reflexes, and panning, and stuff. So yeah, the final kilometer I was do at 10 meters per second, something like that. And I don't know how powerful it is. It shouldn't be too much, because I don't like RCS interfering. Sometimes it goes crazy, so I don't put much on my planes, and only use it to translate on the final. Using the enough ball method and first in retrograde, you can really break like, well, you will see. Okay, you will see how close you can break. We're going 10 meters per second, and there's some weight here, but I try to do things fast. And it's already, you notice how it moved? That's orbital drift. But a little nudge will further slow us down and get it back. I mean, if you thrust close to it, you brake a lot and you don't move it a lot. But if you thrust very far away from it, like 90 degrees, you keep on going at the same speed, you just move it around. Okay, so, judging that, you can, keep it, so I'm doing exactly, and, managing your speed, and there we are, almost spot on, 0.4 meters per second at 30 meters. That's pretty much as good as you can make it. I mean, look at that. We're shining a light on you. Yeah, that works. I was afraid I would have to put more light, but yeah, that works. You light your target. And yeah, we point to it. And it's already pointing towards us. I think I did it by changing, but whatever. This. I always judge. I don't do the north-south trick. Getting one vehicle pointing north, the other south, because I'm kind of decent at judging the relative. But that's me. I have a decent, not too bad, spatial vision, so I can kind of it's guesswork whether they are aligned or not. And then once they are aligned, this goes by nightfall. I wasn't all the speed. Once you can see how I work to move the prograde vector. First these are camera problems, camera issues, probably because of the model cockpit. But now I brake for a final docking one. That's good. That's pro. And say there was no wobble there. And there we are. A moon lander and a whole can of fuel. What could we do with this? You ask. Well, my hope is that this is enough to go to moon and perhaps land. Maybe we'll have to refill it on some lunar base, but perhaps this can do a moon mission. I don't know. Check it out. Perhaps you can do it. Perhaps you can. If someone gets this to moon before I try, that would be completely awesome, and you will be my personal favorite person. But I'm gonna show you things on daylight, because orbital sunrise. Come on, that's so awesome. And with that, be safe, keep those cables safe, and above all, have fun. This is a game, and it's hell of a good time.